Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it. Again. I'm back at it again, man. Listen, we have so much to discuss tonight. Salutes to everyone, Jake Klein, Captain K, salutes to y'all, everybody, all my savages watching, wherever you're watching me from. The New York Jets really have some good things going on. We got 2 Hall of Famers, right, voted into the 2023 class. All right, Revis, first ballot Hall of Famer. Klecko finally gets in after all these years. We'll be discussing that. He should have been in a lot earlier, but he's in now, so that's wonderful to see. Then we also got Sauce Gardner winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. We have Garrett Wilson winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. And we're going to be discussing New York Jets quarterback position tonight. So many good things, all right? So let's go ahead and get into the show. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well. Come on over to Twitter, all right? Type in at The Long Beach Joe, at The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. All right, follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you right back, and we can go back and forth. Your boy is also live as well on YouTube. Some of y'all don't know that. I get people that run into me, and they go, Joe, whoa. We knew that, the show, we listened to it through Blog Talk, which is, again, Blog Talk / Long Beach Joe Show. We knew that your podcast was phenomenal. We knew that you did live radio shows, and we have a lot of fun, but we didn't know you streamed them live on YouTube. And I go, yes. And they say, Joe, man, you look great. We like hearing you, but you look amazing. You're so handsome. And I go, listen, thank you. Thank you, ladies. I'm not cocky. I'm not arrogant. I'm just a regular guy out here working with what I got. So if you want to check me out, you want to come on by, sit with the Savages as well. Salutes to everybody again. Christopher Phillips in the building as well. I see you, player. Everybody in the chat, salutes. If you want to come on by and run into the Savages, go back and forth, with them, because I call my chat the Savages. Why? Because they are savage. I call them the Savages, man, because they just get after everybody. It don't matter who you are. Nobody's safe. If they don't like your take, they're going to let you know. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to come on by, go back and forth with everybody in the chat, all my Savages, come on over to YouTube, type in Long Beach Joe Jets, Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, okay? Come on by, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. Give the videos a thumbs up as well. Post content on there, too, outside of just the live radio shows. And share the channel, share the videos with your friends and your family across your social media platforms, too. Now, it is time to get to it, all right? Listen, the Jets, the Jets are shining right now, all right? The Jets are shining right now, and we're doing big things. Oh, also, you can go to iTunes as well, The Long Beach Joe Show on iTunes. Subscribe to the podcast on there, too. And leave me a 5-star rating. Give me some feedback. Now, you look at this New York Jets football team, and we've been a team that's done some really good things, right? Recently, we've got young guys handling business, but the honor ceremonies were yesterday, last night, and a lot of people were looking to see what was going to happen, specifically with the Hall of Fame, all right? We know we have some guys in the building, guys that we were excited about. And Joe Klecko and Revis have been announced as making it to the Hall of Fame. They're part of the 2023 class. Now, I want to start with Joe Klecko. Joe Klecko is phenomenal. He's the only player in NFL history to be selected to a Pro Bowl at all 3 positions across the defensive line. This was a guy that was part of the sack exchange. All right? Not only that, he went to 4 Pro Bowls. We all know he was selected in 1977 out of Temple, doing his thing there as a 6th-round pick. And he was just coming in. He made a big impact his rookie season. He had 8 sacks. I think that's a team record for a rookie. He played 11 seasons with the Jets. He retired, though. 78 career sacks in 155 games. He was dominant up front, baby. Him, all the other guys we had along that defensive line, that sack exchange was unbelievable. They were destroying people. You go back and watch a lot of those games, man, they were putting quarterbacks on notice. They were blasting people, and that defense was tough. So salute to Joe Klecko, who for years I've campaigned for him. There's been many other Jets fans as well that have campaigned for him to get into the Hall, and it's wonderful to see him get in there finally. Salutes to Joe Klecko. One heck of a career, man. Now we're going to talk about that boy, Darrelle Revis. Listen, Revis, all right. Now, Klecko was a little bit before my time, but Revis, boy, we all, pretty much the newer Jets fans, everybody, that is of my age, we got to watch Revis live and in person, all right? Now, this man was something else. Revis was a straight shutdown corner, one of the keys to the Jets' defense. He has his own island. They literally call him Revis Island because once he's covering you, you don't exist. You're in the island in the middle of nowhere. Quarterbacks didn't even dare to target anything in Revis's way. Anything that Revis was covering, they didn't even look his way at all. Straight shutdown corner. Revis had 496 tackles, 29 interceptions for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns. These are his stats. I mean, it's unbelievable. 139 yards pass defended, 4 forced fumbles, 12 fumble recoveries. Unbelievable. His season high for pass interceptions was 6, and that was in 2009, part of that dominating defense. Revis was unbelievable because it did not matter who it was, whether it was Randy Moss, whether it was, it didn't matter. Chad Ochocinco. It did not matter who it was. Calvin Johnson, it did not matter. If he covered you, you weren't getting nothing. And it was so crazy to watch in live, in real time, watch him go out there and make top wide receivers in this league, top guys, completely useless in games, completely useless. This guy was a lockdown corner, absolutely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. First ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt about it. No doubt about it at all. And he finished with an NFL record 31 passes defensed. Again, 4-time first all-team pro. I mean, Revis he's done it all. He's even got a Super Bowl ring, as we know. He's won a Super Bowl. Didn't win it with us, but he's got a ring as well. And, of course, he was inducted into the Jets Ring of Honor, in 2022. Revis is unbelievable. Just unbelievable. He's also on the NFL's all-decade team in 2010. Revis just did it all, man. Shutdown corner. Just unbelievable what he was able to accomplish in his career. Unbelievable what he did for the Jets. Now we're going to discuss that boy, Sauce Gardner, okay? For those of you that do not know, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, they won some awards as well. Sauce Gardner won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, come on. This guy was unbelievable all season for us. I know a lot of people want to put the island on him as well. We'll see what's going on. We need, more time with Sauce, but I'll tell you what, if there's anybody that's close, Sauce looks to be that guy. The amazing thing about Sauce is he stepped into this season, right? And I don't think anybody necessarily thought he was going to be this good, this fast. It's phenomenal. Unbelievable. Stepped into the league as a rookie corner, one of the toughest positions to make a big impact in as a rookie because you're learning so much. You're trying to figure out the feel for the NFL. You're trying to adjust to the speed. You're trying to adjust to what offenses you're going to do. You know that offenses see that you're a rookie, they're going to pick on you. When you're matched up with some of the best wide receivers in the league, you know that they have crafty little moves. You're facing crafty veterans. And Sauce Gardner was able to weather that storm time and time again. He shut down so many great wide receivers in this league. It's unbelievable. And he did great things this season for us. A young guy coming in and playing at the level that he played for us this season, unbelievable. Unbelievable. He came in as a rookie, and you can honestly argue that he's the best corner in the league, hands down. I say that he is, but a lot of people go, well, Joe, you're a homer. Okay, cool. You think I'm a homer? All right, fine. But you ask other analysts, you ask guys that other than Joe that watch the NFL as well, and a lot of them will give the nod and say that Sauce, this young guy, is the best corner in the league. Salutes to Sauce, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, big accomplishment for him. Then you look the other side of the ball, and there's that boy Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson has won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I am unbelievably happy for him. A lot of people thought it was going to be Kenneth Walker, but that boy Garrett was able to make it happen. Let me tell you something. Garrett Wilson was phenomenal this year for us. He had 1,103 yards, 4 touchdowns. He set the Jets' single-season record for a rookie wide receiver in yardage. Unbelievable. And it didn't matter who the quarterback was, he was making plays. Had over 100 yards against Cleveland, had 115 yards in a game against the Patriots, had 162 yards against the Minnesota Vikings. He was matched up time and time again this season with tough defenses, not getting calls even though he was getting held all season. So many issues going on. Even the quarterback play was up and down, and it did not matter because Garrett Wilson was able to succeed over and over again. Even when things looked in disarray, there were so many games when everybody else was just not making things happen. Garrett Wilson was a guy that we can trust to go to over and over and over again. Salutes to Garrett Wilson. Salutes to Sauce for winning the award they won as well. We're going to be talking about that tonight as well. Oh, man. I'm elated. What a night for the Jets. And again, with these young guys that we're talking about, guys winning Rookie of the Year, Sauce and Garrett Wilson, this is why when some Jets fans start to talk about Joe Douglas being on the hot seat, Joe Douglas not doing enough to get it done, Joe Douglas being some Jets fans, again, I've had discussions where there's some Jets fans that believe that Joe Douglas is a bad general manager. Some of them believe that. And it makes me question, what are you guys thinking? These two guys were two guys that Joe Douglas was able to draft and bring in. These building blocks at impact positions, corner, wide receiver, these guys are going to be around for years to come. And if they continue to keep their consistent production here, that's going to be big for us going into the future. A young nucleus of players continuing to go on is how you build. That's one of the issues that we've had for so long before Joe Douglas. It's one of the issues with Mike McCagnon. We couldn't get a young nucleus. He couldn't draft guys that would stick and stay here and produce. And Joe Douglas has turned that around. So salutes and kudos to Joe Douglas as well. So now I want to talk about the New York Jets quarterback position. And again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. I want to talk about the Jets quarterback position, and there are some things that have gone on, all right? I see Jake Klein is saying, go get Rodgers, nothing else matters. Hold on a second. As we all know, Aaron Rodgers has not come out with his decision yet. He said he's going to go into, I think it was 4 days of darkness, right? And he's going to figure out what's going on with him and where he wants to, go forward. Whether he wants to retire, move on, stay with the Packers, whatever, but he said he's going to take his time and figure things out. So we'll see what happens going forward with Aaron Rodgers. But there is also possibly another monkey wrench thrown into the situation too. We got Derek Carr meeting with the Saints, all right? He met with the Saints recently, sat down with their brass. Now, he's been allowed by the Raiders to go seek compensation from teams that he would be interested in going to, all right? And I know that there's a lot of Jets fans that are looking around and like, well, it's either Aaron Rodgers or nothing. And I say, whoa. Well, what if Aaron Rodgers decides that he doesn't want to come here? Because he can do that as well. What is the next option? You got to look at a guy like Derek Carr. You must. But now Derek Carr is meeting with the Saints. He sat down with them, recently. He had dinner with them, continued on, and again, the Raiders allowed that. Now, as we continue to look at the situation between him and the Raiders, we know that that's done. He's going to move on. He's talked about it as well. He's also talked about how he doesn't care if he gets cut because they can release him. Again, the 15th is the date that everybody's looking at, which is around the corner for us. As of now, it's about 5 days away. He doesn't care if he gets cut, but he does have a no-trade clause, and he wants to make sure that he makes the right decision for his family. That's what he said. He wants to make sure he makes the right decision for his family. Now, we look at the asking price as well. Reportedly, according to reports that are swirling, the asking price for Derek Carr at this point is a third-round pick. It's a third-round pick. And the Raiders are looking to make a move here. Now, again, he does have the no-trade clause, so it's going to be tough for the Raiders to just send him anywhere. They can't do that. If he does not want to go there, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. You know what I mean? You have to send him somewhere that he wants to go. He's also, again, discussed that he doesn't care if they cut him because by the 15th, they have to make a decision. If they can't trade him somewhere, if they can't facilitate a trade to get the compensation that they want, something, right? Then if they hold him after the 15th, he makes $40 million this season, and they're going to be on the hook for that. A lot of that is going to become guaranteed on their cap, and that's the last thing that they want. So it's looking like if they cannot facilitate a trade for Carr at this point, and again, we're recording live, at this point, there's been no official trade made between the Raiders and the Saints. But if they cannot get something done before the 15th, more than likely, they're going to end up cutting Derek Carr. And he's going to be able to walk into the market and see what's going on and work a deal, that is the best for him and what he wants to do going forward. But a third-round pick is what reportedly the Raiders are looking to get. So if you look at the situation, man, you also got to start to think, hey, what if Aaron Rodgers decides to stay with the Packers, or let's say he retires? Derek Carr gets released. You look at this situation, man, you got to wonder the bidding war that will start for Carr. And I know there's a lot of people that look at him, and for some reason there's a lot of Jets fans. I've had discussions with them that say, hey, we don't believe that he's that good. They think that Carr's a bum, and I don't understand that because he's had 4,000-yard seasons. 4. We've only had one guy in our franchise history throw for over 4,000 yards in one season, and that was Joe Namath. He threw for 4,007 yards in one season. That's it. Carr's done that 4 times. His average year here for us, if he came here and just gave us an average year from what he's done in 9 years, that would come in and probably set single-season franchise records for us. He'd be somewhere near, the top. He would come in here, if you look at him statistically, and be one of the most accomplished quarterbacks New York Jets have ever had in franchise history. That's not a lie. That's not a lie. But you got to start wondering if the Raiders cannot make a trade and they end up releasing him, man, you got to look at that bidding war because there's a lot of teams that are going to be on that. Tampa Bay could be in on it. Again, with Tom Brady retiring, that opens up and makes another QB-hungry team. There's other teams out there that are going to be screaming for a quarterback, screaming to get somebody in there to make plays. You got to wonder, is Carr going to be the guy if he gets released? Can the New York Jets make it happen if everything falls apart with Aaron Rodgers? Can the New York Jets make something happen with Carr? It's going to be a big question. You also got to wonder if it'd be smarter than the New York Jets to just make a trade right now for Carr if, things don't shake out. with Aaron Rodgers, right? Now, again, we've all talked about and heard about Aaron Rodgers being the apple of the Jets' eye, okay? Even Sauce Gardner, and there's other players as well that have kind of hinted towards, the Jets being all in on Rodgers. We've heard about reports. We've heard about it all, right? You got to wonder, if the Jets don't get Rodgers, is Carr going to be the guy that they go after next, all right? Now, when we look at that situation, it started me to thinking, well, what happens if Carr goes somewhere else, right, ends up going to another team like Tampa Bay? What happens if Aaron Rodgers decides that he wants to retire? Then what? What are our other options? And I'll come to the Savages in just a second. What are our other options if that happens? And I started to look at the other quarterbacks who could possibly be out there as well, and one of the guys that popped up in my brain that I immediately thought of was Jimmy G. Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo could be a guy that could come in here and be effective for the New York Jets at quarterback and hold the fort just enough to make us a solid team to compete, make a playoffs, and possibly make a playoff run, right? Now, one of the things that really sells me on Jimmy G, if things fall apart with Aaron Rodgers, if things don't happen with Carr, right, and we miss out on both of those guys, is that we know that Jimmy G has a relationship with Sulla and understands this offense through and through. He understands. He understands the Shanahan offense. This is an offense he had extreme success in, has been able to do things, and him and Sulla have spent time together as well, again, with the Niners. We know that Jimmy G is a guy that can go out there and be extremely accurate as well. Now, again, the New York Jets are committed to searching for that veteran quarterback. We know that Sulla and Woody Johnson talked about that this offseason. And so when you look at the situation, the familiarity with the offense can really help Jimmy G come here and be successful off the bat. Again, we know that Mike LaFleur, we moved on from him, right? He's no longer here, and we'll get to the callers in just a second. 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Listen, the familiarity with the Shanahan offense, and even though Nathaniel Hackett is here, we're still going to be running a lot of the same concepts. And even Nathaniel Hackett himself has a history working within the Shanahan offense there with, Matt LaFleur with the Packers. So he's done this before. He's done that before. When you look at the situation, man, Jimmy G with the Niners, he's been able to do work. He's been absolutely able to do work. Okay, you look at some of the things that he's been able to accomplish. Two-time Super Bowl champion. Again, that was with the Patriots to back up there. But he also made a Super Bowl appearance in 2019. In 2019, he was the fourth quarter comeback leader in the league. This guy was making it happen. When things were getting down and it came into crunch time, Jimmy G was able to drop back and make things happen from the pocket. In 2021, he was the NFL yards per completion leader. Do you know that he has the highest completion percentage in 49ers franchise history? That's insane. This guy, listen, the 49ers are no bums. They've had quarterbacks, all right? Lots of really good ones, okay? Joe Montana, Steve Young, the list goes on. And he has the highest completion percentage in 49ers history. I think it's 67.7, something like that. He's also 40-17 as a starter, all right? This guy goes out and wins games. He wins games. The only question I have with Jimmy G is just the injuries, all right? We know that he's been injured. I think he's played 15 games or less the last 3 seasons that he's, 3 seasons, within the 5 that he's been a starter. So there's concerns there. But I tell you what, if we can continue to build around him, which, again, Jimmy G is a free agent, that's one of the big things that sells about him as well, that takes no capital to get him. You can grab him directly off the market, and you can make things happen with him. You can still utilize the draft capital, right, your first, your second, all these picks to continue to build your offensive line and continue to build your football team while Jimmy G holds the fort as a quarterback. All you got to do is block for him and keep him upright. We can do that. It also gives you time as well to continue to groom and mold Zach Wilson. Look, I know there's a lot of Jets fans that are ready to give up on Zach, and I hear you, okay? I don't call him a bust. I want to give him more time and see, if he can rebuild himself, see if he can revitalize his career. But Jimmy G coming in here and being able to help him going forward, teaching him the ropes as a pro, continuing to build him, continuing to help him understand concepts within this offense and also understand how to read defenses. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. That could be the thing that could trigger turnaround of Zach Wilson in his career here. A veteran guy that has been through it all, right, can come in here and help Zach. So those are my selling points for Jimmy G. I'm saying if everything falls apart with Carr, if everything falls apart with Aaron Rodgers, we got to start looking at other options here because that could be something that absolutely does happen. Aaron Rodgers could decide to retire. He could decide to retire, after his couple days in darkness. And Carr could absolutely go somewhere like Tampa Bay. He could go to other teams as well. I know there's other hungry QB needy teams out there. He could decide, hey, those are the places that I want to go. And then what happens? We've got to start looking at other options. So we're going to go to the callers right now. We're going to take some calls. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Salute to my guy, Jack Kenna. Jack Kenna says, why are the Jets not bringing in Carr for a visit? That's interesting. A lot of people talking about that. All right. I don't know. Maybe that's tipping the hand that the New York Jets are all in on Aaron Rodgers, that he's the guy that they're going to go after. A lot of people believe that there's already a deal in place for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm hearing. I'm not saying officially. I don't know. But I'm just saying that a lot of people saying that. Even Sauce himself came out, I think it was on Good Morning Football, saying that he knows a little something about something when it comes to, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Gully also said, hey, Joe, we need to have revisionist history about my takes versus yours. I told you Wilson and Sauce would be the best in the draft. Salutes. I remember you talking about Garrett Wilson for sure. I was never against any of those guys being drafted, though. I did want other guys. Thibodeau was one of those guys. But it is what it is, all right? But we ended up with the best guys, and I did a live draft show during that time and was excited when we took Sauce and Garrett Wilson. Absolutely. Those guys were phenomenal. But I did want a couple of different guys. We did end up with Jermaine Johnson, one of the guys I absolutely wanted in the draft. And we're continuing to build. And let me tell you something. Joe Douglas has absolutely shined this year. He shined in his time here as a general manager, all the pieces that he's been able to put in place and to continue to build. The biggest issue and the missing piece to this point has been the quarterback position. So we're going to get to the lines. 516-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm smiling ear to ear, man. We got Hall of Famers. We got Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Salute all the Savages. I'll come to y'all. You know what I'm saying? But we got to get to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. First caller I'm starting off with is my guy, Colin. Colin, we're coming directly to you. Jack, 347. Hold on. We'll get to you guys in a second. Other callers will get to you. Salute to you, Colin. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. For those of you that do not know, Colin, he's a savage. And he's a hater. He's a hater as well. He's self-admittedly, he likes to hate. He's keeping it real. Salute to you, Colin. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Listen, man, we are talking Jets. The Jets have 2 Hall of Famers, Joe Klecko, Revis. What are your thoughts about Revis getting in first ballot Hall of Famer? How are you feeling about that, man?
Hey, good evening, Joe. Good evening to the Savages. I'm excited, man. Revis, what he brought to New York, we haven't had a guy like that in a long time. So, kudos to him. He definitely deserves to be there. Like, you said before, shut down so many good wide receivers in this league. He just shut down the whole right side when he played for the Jets. So,
yep.
Happy for him. Happy, to see Klecko in there as well. And, we have 2 rising stars right now, right? Defensive rookie. So,
yep.
We have a lot of good things going on, Joe. So
yeah, we do.
All I have to say is, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, but the thing and that's why when we discuss this, right, when we discuss Joe Douglas and we discuss what he's doing here and how he's building, there's a lot of Jets fans that automatically was saying coming into the season, oh, he's on the hot seat. Oh, he should be fired. If the Jets don't make the playoffs next year, he should be fired. If the Jets don't do this. And it's like, wait a minute. We're still building. We're in a rebuilding process. Of course, we all expect that we're going to take the next step this season. But to say that Joe Douglas is on a hot seat when he had the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year, right, from these past drafts, it's like, come on. This guy's doing work. I mean, right, Kyle? Don't you look at Jets fans that talk about Joe Douglas being trash? Don't you look at them kind of sideways now?
You know what it is, Joe? We're so fed up with losing that the minute someone doesn't do well, we're ready to move on to the next person. That's the point where we are as Jets fans, is like we just don't have the patience anymore. It's like you gotta come with your A game or see you later. So it takes time to build a team right, and we're starting to do that with Joe Douglas. I think this team has been the best for, I don't know for how long now, over 10, 20 years with Joe Douglas than with anyone else. So we're on the right track, man. We're on the right track. So yeah. But
we are.
There's always going to be fans that's not going to be happy with something. So that's okay. That's life.
You're talking facts. Now, when you look at this situation, I want to talk to you about this Jets quarterback position. And look, I love Aaron Rodgers. Everyone knows we've done multiple shows, and I've campaigned for Aaron Rodgers becoming the New York Jets quarterback. I'm on record saying that. I'm on record saying I would give up 2 first-round picks. I would have did it last month. I would have did it last year. I would do it now, if you ask me, right, if that's all it took. But now I have to start to look at the situation and say to myself, okay, what if Aaron Rodgers decides that he wants to retire? Let's go down that scenario. What if he's out of the picture, so he's done? You look at Derek Carr. He's on a meeting with the Saints. He could get snatched up there, right? Or say he just doesn't want to come here. What are your options after Carr and Rodgers, Colin? Do you look at Jimmy G? Are you a guy that wants to go back to Mike White? I mean, what do you make of the Jets quarterback possibilities or position after or if Aaron Rodgers and Carr are off the table? Where are you going?
Well, so the first thing I think, Joe, and I think I had said this like probably a couple of weeks ago on the show, we have to do everything possible for Rodgers. Rodgers cannot go with another team. It's either he retires or he's a Jet. That's the only option Aaron Rodgers has, because that's the only option we're going to give him. We're going to be like, Rodgers, either you retire or you're a Jet.
Okay.
So you can go in your dark retreat and figure out what you want to do, but at the end of the day, you're either on this team or you better be retired, because we have offensive rookie of the year on our team. We have a defensive rookie of the year on our team. We have a running back could have been rookie of the year. We have a tackle that could have probably been to the Pro Bowl last year. So, but that's my opinion, Joe. It's either Rodgers or he retires. You can't let him go anywhere else. You got to do every single thing possible.
So let's go down that.
But if we do lose out on him,
he retires, if he retires, where are you going?
Yeah, he's not going to retire. There's too much money on the table. But let's say we don't get him because he decides to retire. I think Jimmy G would be the better option than Carr.
Wow. Okay.
Because
why?
Yeah, because the way I look at it with Carr, Carr is good. He's not great. He had Devontae Adams last year. He had Josh Jacobs. He had a good team last year. I think with Jimmy G, and you have Zach Wilson and Mike White behind him, those guys can learn you know, he knows the system already. I think he would be the better fit, and Zach and Mike White can learn under him. But if you bring in Derek Carr, then you're pretty much saying, hey, Zach, you know, we're getting rid of you because you're going to have Carr for quite a few years, and you're not going to have Zach Wilson just sitting on the bench. So I think Jimmy G would be the better option. He's been to the Super Bowl. You know, he didn't win in the Super Bowl, but he has.
Who is to blame for that, though? Yeah, if you bring in Carr, yes, you're going to have him for a couple of years. But Carr has shown you that and I understand you're saying you don't think he's that good. I do believe he's that good. I mean, when you look at his numbers, when you look at what he's been able to put up and things that he's been able to do, it's been unbelievable, right? Especially with a lot of the dysfunction that we've seen there with the Raiders franchise. Now, here's the deal, and I understand a lot of people want to give Zach Wilson another chance, but if you can bring in a guy like Carr, especially, again, if he gets released, we'll see. But even according to reports, the asking price is only a third-round pick, right? If you can get a third-round pick and get this type of guy who at this point has shown immense ability, he's only 31, he'll probably give you – I mean, you look at most of these guys, they're playing up into their 40s now at quarterback. You can't even touch them. You'll get years of really solid quarterback play. You watch the Jets this season, the biggest issue with the New York Jets was our quarterback play was so bad we couldn't get it done. Down the stretch, we were playing so bad offensively, it was unbelievable, but we still had a chance to make the playoffs down the stretch and lost 6 games because we couldn't get our quarterback position together. This guy's had 4 4,000-yard seasons. We only had one guy in franchise history throw for 4,000 yards in a season. One in our entire franchise history. I understand wanting to see what Zach Wilson has, but if you bring Derek Carr into the building, look, if Zach Wilson can't win, it is what it is. This is a results business. We cannot allow this guy to come in here or be here and kill our football team because we're waiting to see if he's going to get better or not. We've had 2 years of him so far, all right, and I'm playing devil's advocate right now. Everybody knows I love Zach, but at the end of the day, we've had 2 years of this guy. He looks exactly the same way that he did in his rookie year. As a matter of fact, he looks worse. There's no excuse for him to be bad. We have every single thing shored up. We have offensive weapons. We have a running game. We have an offensive line who, even though guys got hurt this year, they were still able to block solidly for him, right? He wasn't getting crushed all season. He's the one running backwards. He's the one that doesn't want to play within the system. He's the one that wants to play unsafe football and not play boring football, so he's throwing interceptions trying to squeeze the ball in between 3 Patriots defenders. So when are we going to take the next step forward? Are we just going to wait for Zach? I'm not willing to do that. If we bring in Derek Carr, he can be the guy. He can continue forward, and if Zach can't compete or can't beat him out or whatever it is, if he can't ever be a starter again, then it is what it is. But with Derek Carr, I think we take the next step. What are your thoughts, Colin?
Well, the thing with Carr, it looks like we possibly can lose out on Carr, right? Because, they're saying all signs point to the Saints. But my thing with Carr is that, and I listened to a couple of talk shows, I don't want to jump the gun. And just say, oh my gosh, what if Rodgers retire? What if he goes somewhere else? Let's just go get Carr right now. I don't want to do that. I don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, let's just go run and get Carr. I think we just got to be patient. Like I say, when Rodgers, and you know what, the Super Bowl is this Sunday, and we're going to know right after the Super Bowl what's going to happen. But, I think until then, we just got to be patient, keep our fingers crossed, and, Carr, Rodgers, Jimmy G, right? There's still 3 guys that can be on the Jets team. So it's just a matter of who you want first to be on the team.
Yeah, I mean, we got to listen. The NFL moves fast, moves very fast. And I'll tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers is off when he comes back from his retreat of darkness or whatever he's doing to figure it out, if Aaron Rodgers decides that he does not want to be here for whatever reason, retire, stay with the Packers, we need to be on the first thing smoking, or we need to make whatever, needs to be made happen to make sure that Derek Carr is a New York Jet. So before I let you go, Colin, because you've been bringing some heat, give me your thoughts on the Super Bowl. Who do you think wins? Chiefs, Eagles. Give me your pick, man.
You know what? This is an interesting one. So for me, I don't have a favorite. I think either team win. I'll be happy for, either quarterback. Either Mahomes get his second ring or Hurst get his first. So I'm fine with either one.
Come on.
I don't even have a favorite.
Don't run from it. Don't run.
So if I have to
give us a take,
who you take? If I have to take a team, I'm going to take the Chiefs only because my wife loves Mahomes. So
okay, all right.
So I don't want to have to fight with her.
Okay. Well, Colin, listen. Thank you for calling in.
One other thing, really quick, Joe.
Go ahead.
One other thing, quick.
Go ahead.
If you're going to come to the Jets and be their quarterback, you need at least 5 days in darkness. That's all I got to say.
Oh, goodness. Colin, I want to thank you for calling. You have a good one, man.
All right, take care, Joe.
Colin gave us a shot before he got out of here. Listen, 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Again, when you call in, please be patient. We'll get to everybody. Salutes to all callers. Please give the stream a thumbs up if you have not already. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you want to give to the stream, the super chat is there. The Cash App is on the bottom of the screen as well. Anything you get to the platform is greatly appreciated. Again, please be patient. We're going to get to everybody tonight. Next, I'm going to go to Jack. We're coming directly to Jack. Salutes Dwayne, Mickey, other callers. Hold on. We'll get to you guys in a second. We're going to my guy, Jack, all right, from 916. Salutes to you, Jack. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, my friend. Listen, we've gone back and forth as well. I know that you're a big Raiders fan, and you were a big proponent for Derek Carr. I know you talked a little bit about the last time we were having a show. You were talking about everything that he brought to the Raiders franchise. Man, what are your thoughts about his situation? I want to go back to it because I really want you to give us a bit more of the detail of what happened. This breakup between Carr and him going elsewhere, how are you feeling as a Raiders fan watching this happen?
LBJ, it's good to talk to you for the first time, and you being a California guy too, so this is awesome. Yeah, as a Carr guy and, being a NorCal guy, watching Carr for all these years, I'm a big Carr guy. And I feel like McDaniels really, kind of messed up. And I think Ziegler messed up. You look at Carr, at the time when they benched him, he was in the playoff hunt. I mean, we were not eliminated from the playoffs, so the Raiders were still in it, but they were afraid about, him getting hurt, just sacking it and, taking, you got to pay him, $37 million of guaranteed money, which as a Raiders fan and being a Carr fan, he don't do that unless he really gets hurt. He's the first guy in there with All-Pro Max Crosby. Every morning, they have breakfast. Every morning, they're the first guys in and the last guys out. So if the Jets can figure out a way to get Carr, and, that's what I love what you're talking about, how much you appreciate him. I'm glad other teams do. The guy is all world. I mean, his work ethic, his values, he's what you want at your quarterback. And being a football fan since 1975, quarterbacks don't grow on trees. And I've seen plenty of bad quarterbacks for my Oakland Raiders, my Los Angeles Raiders, and so forth. So, and here's my 2 cents. If the Jets want him, they need to bring him in. They really got to. They got to wine and dine him, bring him in to give up that no trade clause. Because right now the Saints have done that, and they've had him for 2 days. So they are really trying to get him. But here's the thing: the Saints are already over $50 million over the cap. So can they afford him, or are they just planting the seeds to be a free agent to come there? Is possibly what they're doing. But guys, I will say this: if I'm Derek Carr, and if we all follow his career like I do, he's kind of a more warm weather guy. And so you look at it like McDaniels, he messed up because he really kind of thought he was going to get TB12, and he retired. He's done. Aaron Rodgers, I hate to say it, that guy's going to cost you $50 million a year, a couple first, second, and maybe a player. So do I really want that on my team? No. If you guys want to do that, hey, then, that's great because he would be a definite improvement. But if he becomes a free agent, you got to look at the Buccaneers as the number one landing spot because Derek Carr is definitely more of a warm weather team type person. And you look at the division. Again, the Saints, we just said that, $50 million's over the cap. The Falcons are horrible. The Panthers are not all that great, but they're either dome or they're warm weather, places, and that's the type of things that I could see Carr going to. So,
Now, Jack, when you talk about, I know that you talk about warm weather. I think, and again, you've been a Raiders fan, you've watched this guy, but I do think a lot of the talk about him not being able to get it done if it's cold, I think that's a little bit overblown. Again, y'all play Denver. I'm on the West Coast. I watch you guys play Denver, and I've watched him go off against Denver, a lot. And it was freezing. I've watched him go off.
No, I agree. That is the
he had a
one
great
team
game against
Raiders
Denver this year, right?
This year was Denver. So, but that is the one team, and there's a reason for that too. Denver is a hot mess. I mean, that team is just a hot mess. They got a great defense, but they were talking about one quarterback away, and then you get Russell Wilson, and he didn't perform any better than the guys that they had from years past. So, I got to say, Denver's a hot mess. I'm like, there's a lot of mental stuff going on, a lot of stuff going on in the locker room with that team. Yeah. But I love the fact that Jack, you talk about, Carr, you want to bring him in because you know what he is. He's stability. And this year, like, I look at it this way. Carr's got a photographic memory. Under John Gruden, he would call plays in preseason. Carr would remember them in the regular season. But with McDaniel's offense, if they slight a defense like, in zone in one half and man on the other half, then your receivers are supposed to do this. Where in the world do you ever see Devontae Adams, who's all-world, the best receiver probably in the NFL, and Hunter Renfrow, who's all-pro, and they run into each other in the last play of the game, and the game's over. So that tells me that you're doing way too much complication on your offense. You got players that can beat other guys. Don't make it so complicated. And then McDaniel's putting that on Carr, and that's just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen, Jack, I hear you. And again, and this is what I tell people, and you're a Raiders fan. I'm on the West Coast again. The Raiders have been dysfunctional for a while. And Carr has been able to go out there and be successful, and not just dysfunctional, on as far as like a player standpoint, like the players being dysfunctional in the locker room. No, the front office, all that stuff that went on with John Gruden, Mayock. A lot of people don't talk about him and his drafting. I know you can speak to that as well. His drafting was horrific at times. There were guys that he brought in that didn't work out. He had first-round busts. There were a lot of problems with the Raiders, but we saw Carr just continuing to strive and put things together and go out there. And I don't understand why a lot of Jets fans are not interested in him. A lot of people think that he's not good, whatever, so on and so forth. I just urge that people go out and watch Derek Carr because this guy can get it done. And I'm going to let you speak to that. But my final question for you is my biggest question about Derek Carr, right, if the Jets were to grab him, was do you believe that he can perform here under the lights? Now, I understand in Vegas and even when they were in Oakland, that pressure, there's some pressure out there, but the pressure here in New York is immense. It's immense. I'm telling you, the media, the fan base, this place will eat you alive. Real talk. We've seen it break people. We saw it break Rex Ryan finally. We've seen it break quarterbacks. I mean, we've had guys booed at charity events. We booed Geno Smith at a charity event. They go off on people constantly. We saw Sam Darnold was getting smacked and kicked on his way out of here by the fan base, and he was as nice as it got. And so I'm just wondering, and I want to get your perspective on this, do you believe that if the Jets do end up with Derek Carr, that he'll be able to perform under all the pressure and expectations that come with being in his Jets uniform and playing in New York?
Well, Jets fans, I will say this. Derek Carr is like a 9-year vet. So, yes, I think he can, perform under the pressure because, if you're an NFL player, I don't care what position, especially quarterback, you're going to hear it from the whole world. And, the Raider Nation is half divided on Carr. So I don't have a show of my own, but I go on a ton of Raider shows. And half the Raider Nation is for Carr, and the other half is against Carr because he doesn't have any playoff success. But he's carried teams. And Jets fans, so this year alone, when you got your all-pro tight end missing 6 games, you got your slot receiver missing 6 games, and all you got Devontae and you got Josh Jacobs, and the offensive line is absolutely trash. And then you look at Carr, like again, a complicated McDaniels offense, where we just talked about Renfro and Adams running into each other because it's so complicated in what they're supposed to do. You know, they want to bring, you know, that's why they traded for their backup quarterback, because he's had 4 years under that squad. So McDaniels needs to dumb it down and make it smart. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I think a Carr, if you give Carr the leverage and give him the plays where he can call out of the offensive coordinator's call to go to his play if he doesn't see things right, yes, because I look at teams like the year before when John Gruden got fired, and they had Rich Bisaccia take over, who was a special teams head coach. No offense, no defense, and they made the playoffs under him. But under McDaniels, they go 6-11, and they gave up. You know, they lost more games with double digits leads than ever before, because McDaniels, in my mind, is not a true head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. And then Graham, again, you guys from the East Coast, all you fans from the East Coast, you guys seen Graham with the New York Giants. He runs a complicated defense, too. And you go from a Gus Bradley, again, John Gruden, simple. Gus Bradley, simple. Just play hard, you play fast. And now you're trying to transition from players that go from that type of scheme to more complicated, schemes. You need to bring in new players, and you can't do that in 1 year.
Yeah. Listen, Jack, it was phenomenal to speak to you. I got to slide off because I got other callers. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, and you always bring the heat. And, again, I love your insight on Derek Carr, my friend. You have yourself a good one, all right?
All right. Well, thank you for bringing me on. It was nice to talk with you. And everybody, like if you're a Jets fan, come on, hit, subscribe to this guy. He brings out great intel.
Thank you. Oh, before I let you go, Jack, actually, could you give me your Super Bowl prediction? I almost forgot. Eagles, Chiefs. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think it ends up, man?
Well, I think you already know how I want to end up. So as being a Raiders fan, I want the Eagles to win. And here's the thing: it's like you look at like against Tampa. Tampa had a really solid defense. So let's go back to the old saying. Everyone in football nation, if you're going to build a team, defenses win championships. And I will say that Eagles defense is mind-boggling, and they're great. I'm hoping for Eagles all day long. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah. Okay. Jack, again, I want to thank you for calling in. You have a good one, man.
All right, you too. Thank you for bringing me on.
All right, thank you. Listen, Jack, again, salutes to him calling in. We have, fans from all across the board calling in. Again, we do bleed green around here. It's all about the Jets, but, everyone wants to speak of, and his takes and his insight on this Carr situation is phenomenal, And I talk to people all the time. I'm on the West Coast, and I've seen the dysfunction with the Raiders. He spoke of it. The front office, all that stuff, and to still see Derek Carr go out there and be extremely successful. And I'm telling you, I know a lot of Jets fans just don't think that he's very good, but I believe that, again, Aaron Rodgers, number one on my tier, but Derek Carr is right there. And then after those two guys, it's you got to look at other options, but they're definitely a drop-off after Carr, or after Aaron Rodgers and Carr, But we're going to be discussing that. We're also going to be asking about your Super Bowl picks as well. That's right around the corner. Salutes to Adrian in the chat. Salutes to you, Savage. He says, Jets getting Jimmy G and build up the O-line. Okay, that's what he wants. NY Jets FL salutes to you. He says, Taylor Lewan saying he might be cut. This is something that's developing during the show, I suppose. And he also says we signed the Titans offensive line coach, so we'll see. He also says Sella is on the hot seat. We will get Jimmy G or Tannehill. Wow. NY Jets FL speaking his mind, So salutes to everybody. Salutes to Larry Coleman. GVH, everybody in the chat. We're going to continue to come back to y'all as well. All the Savages, keep on going, giving your takes. We'll hear from you in a second. Jack said he does not want to see the Chiefs win anything, okay? That man's a Raiders fan through and through. So we're going to get back to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Next, we're going to my guy, Dwayne, man. We're going to Dwayne, Mickey, other callers as well. Hold on. We'll get to you guys in a second. We're coming to Dwayne. Dwayne, salutes to you. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Listen, for those of you that do not know, that man, Dwayne, he's a savage. I'm talking straight savage. Salutes to you, Dwayne. Thank you for calling in tonight. Listen, I'm excited, okay? I'm smiling ear to ear. We have the defensive and offensive rookie of the year, you know, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. We got 2 Jets, you know, going into the Hall of Fame as well, man. How are you feeling right now after seeing all of that?
I will say this. I'm happy to see that our rookies are doing so well. And, as you know, when a rookie does well, you always look towards the future. But, you know, I always look at things a little with a certain angle, because I have a certain angle. I'm a different Jets fan.
Okay.
And
okay.
I'm happy because it's an indictment on some of these Jets fans. Like I said before, and I've said it many times, and I'll always say it. This team, this fan base is an off-season fan base, right? Halfway through the season, they're already thinking about who can we get. Every year is the same. Who can we get this time? What about Joe Douglas didn't get any Patrick Mahomes level players. He didn't get Deion Sanders. Nah, we got to get somebody else. That's Jets fans. So I'm happy that it's an indictment on some of these Jets fans. They don't let anything develop. They don't let anything establish. They don't want to build anything piece by piece. They want to find the next best thing. I don't know where they get this confidence that there's something out there that we've been missing this whole time that we're going to pick up next year. Like, we've had that kind of luck. But I'm just happy to see it. Joe Douglas, if you ever listen to this show, I'm riding with you. And if a Jets fan says they don't have confidence in you, I'm going to let you know right now he's wrong, because they always are. They're wrong about Sam Darnold. Sorry. They're wrong about Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. They're always wrong. That's the Jets fans for you. Always wrong. You know, so I'm happy.
Dwayne coming in with some heat. You know, even my boy Sam Darnold caught a stray. You know, but okay. And again, look. I know. And again, Dwayne's one of the guys. Even you just talked about Zach Wilson as well. All right, you feel like you wrong. I know you're one of the guys that thinks he's trash too, and I think you called him a bust on former shows as well. I myself am still looking to see if Zach Wilson can turn it around, but I think, and you talked about building things piece by piece, but one of the things that we talked about one of the things that the Jets organization has talked about, from Sulla to Woody Johnson, is attacking the quarterback market, okay? And there's some options out there. And I want to present this scenario to you, Dwayne, and I want you to give me your takes and your thoughts. You look at the situation. Let's say Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. Let's say Carr ends up in Tampa Bay. Who else are you looking at to be the Jets' next option for a quarterback position? Would you be willing to go with Jimmy G?
You ain't got to set that, Joe. You ain't got to set that table. I'm a rational person. I'm not a Jets fan. You ain't got to do that with me. Listen, I'm not like these Jets fans. I would take Jimmy G. Listen, first of all, we're not getting Jimmy G.
Throwing shots.
Right?
Go ahead.
I know for sure we're not getting Jimmy G. What's going to happen, because everything coming out of the Jets is they're going for the home run. They're going for the top guy. So what's going to happen is Derek Carr, the first domino is going to fall, right? It looks like he's going to the Saints. First domino is going to fall. Okay. And we're going to wait it out with Aaron Rodgers. The reason we're going to wait it out is because the Green Bay Packers are going to be like, should we wait for this June opportunity that helps us save money? Right? They're going to try to, like, prolong it. and try to figure out what they could do. Maybe they'll trade him a little earlier than June, but they're going to contemplate it for a while. That's when we miss out on Jimmy G, right? We miss out on Jimmy G. He goes sign something like that, right? We don't know. Maybe we'll get Rodgers. Maybe we won't, and we'll and probably there's a good chance we won't, and we'll end up with something like Baker Mayfield or some shit like that. Some stuff like that.
Oh, well, no, watch your cursor. Watch your cursor. It's a family show. But so you're telling me you think that we end up with Baker. So you think we'll miss out on Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G as well, and we'll end up with Baker Mayfield?
That's how I was looking. The reason I'm sure we're going to miss out on Jimmy G is because we already bought into the hype of Jets fans. Joe Douglas has become one of the members of the off-season hype fan base, and he's just listening to the crowd, and they're like, "You get on Rodgers, or we're going to lose. We're never going to win anything." So he's already buying into that. Our owner is already buying into that. That's why I think we're going to miss out on Jimmy G. There's a chance we could get Aaron Rodgers, right? And I'm not. Maybe Derek Carr's calling our bluff. Maybe he's only choosing signals to the Saints because he wants to raise his price or something along that line. He's going to be a free agent at the end of it. It's possible. We've seen people do that to us, so it might be possible, right? So it's possible we could get Carr. It's possible we could get Aaron Rodgers. But there's a lot of interesting bidders out there for them too, right? So I wouldn't bank on it. That's what I mean.
Listen, if we miss out on Aaron Rodgers and Carr, and then we don't end up with Jimmy G, I don't want to have nothing to do with Baker Mayfield. I'm going on record saying that right now. I don't want to have nothing to do with him at all. You might as well. Okay, go back to Mike White. If we're missing out on all those guys, okay, we miss out on Jimmy G. And Jimmy G is like the third option. And honestly, if Jimmy G is your option, I would have no problem with just going back to Mike White over Jimmy G. For me, it's Aaron, because Lamar Jackson is off the table in my mind, okay? So before people hit my DMs or try to tweet me and go, what about Lamar Jackson, in my mind, is going to stay a Baltimore Raven. They've already talked about having him decide who the offensive coordinator is there. That's said and done to me, right? Yeah. So if Aaron Rodgers is off the table for whatever reason, and then we miss out on Carr, okay, because that would hurt too, you might as well go back to Mike White because Baker Mayfield is trash. He's trash. I don't want to have nothing to do with him at all. Go ahead.
I will say this. If you look at Jimmy G, I know the stats aren't really, really there, but outside of injuries, he's not that much different from Derek Carr. Last year, he was playing really well until his injury.
I don't know about that, but go ahead.
And, he would have been, if he played 16 games, he would have been a 4,000-yard passer last year. He would have been a 4,000-yard passer. And it was a decent, a pretty similar touchdown to intro ratio than to Derek Carr. I think Jimmy G's good because he's really a system guy. And, he's a guy that really knows the system, and he could teach Zach. I'm not sure how the contract works with Zach because I know his rookie contract only goes so far, but he can teach Zach. Zach's problem is he's a lot like Russell Wilson, where they're very gamey, they're very, very gamerish, where they're not systemish. You know what I mean? Like, so you get a really straight-laced system guy to show him how he does it. It could be good, and then you might sign Mike White as a backup. To me, listen, I would only give Aaron Rodgers so much time. After Carr falls, after that first domino falls, I'm not giving him too much time. I'm looking at Jimmy G and I'm talking to him immediately. Even if we don't sign him, I'm talking to him immediately. Would you sign for this? You know what I mean? How do you feel about playing with us? We got a familiar system. Salah already. I start talking to him because I think some of these teams might have Jimmy G in mind already.
Yeah.
Right? The Jets ain't like that. The Jets are trying to hit the off-season home run. So that's why I'm worried about Jimmy G. I'd be talking. No,
yeah, I do. I hear you, and I hear about, you saying the Jets are trying to hit the offseason home run, because there's a lot of talk about Aaron Rodgers being here, and I get it. Everybody's rumors. But I'll tell you what, if that domino falls, and if the domino falls and Carr ends up going somewhere else, and then the Jets miss out on Aaron Rodgers, that would be a huge misstep for Joe Douglas. It'd be huge, because you should have already planned for that scenario, right? I would think, and to this point, right, the Jets have not brought in Carr. To this point, maybe they're just doing it right now. Again, this is a live show. To this point, the Jets have not brought in Carr. So if they have not brought in Carr, he's not visiting them. They either already have an inside information that he's either going to be released or they're not interested at this point, right? So you must have some backup plan. In my mind, I would think that Joe Douglas already has it set in stone that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet. And if it falls through and Aaron Rodgers is not a Jet, that means you missed out on Carr, who you could have got for the cheap. According to reports, it's a third-round pick for a guy that would clearly put us in the playoffs. If we get Derek Carr, there's no reason we're not going to be in the playoffs. There shouldn't be any reason. You got the offensive rookie of the year. You got weapons. We can build a third-round pick is nothing. You can still continue to build your offensive line with all the rest of the picks you got out there, right? $40 million, not a big deal. You can do a lot of contract finagling for all you capologists out there, right? You can push a lot of money. You can still re-sign Quentin Williams, all that stuff, right? If you miss out on him and then you miss out on Aaron Rodgers, this fan base is going to explode, and the media is going to explode, okay? And things are going to be looking at you funny. People are going to be looking at you real funny, especially if you go in the next season and your offense is still struggling because your quarterback position has not been solidified. What are your thoughts? I'll give you the final thoughts on that, Dwayne.
So yeah, I think we have to really realize that these two quarterbacks hold their future in their hands more than we think. Aaron Rodgers, he's only playing a game with Green Bay. Green Bay is a very small town, and neither one of them wants to have a bad reputation of abandoning each other. Right? That's what the game with Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay right now, right? Aaron Rodgers don't want to be known as the guy that abandoned Green Bay and went somewhere else, and the Green Bay don't want to be the guys that traded away, the hometown hero, right? So it's in a balance. These guys, you got to remember, the Jets in recent history, probably not now, but in recent history, they haven't been the team that everybody wants to play for. So with two guys, with their future in their hands, that third-round pick is not what people think. That third-round pick comes with a no-trade clause, meaning I can basically pick who I want to play for, and it might just be the Saints for Carr, and it might just be the Raiders for Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? So it's weighing in the balance. You're weighing it in the balance. Once Carr drops, now Joe Douglas is weighing in the balance. Now saying, Carr just dropped. I could wait for Aaron Rodgers and be the GM for the next 5 years because I get him, or I could lose out on Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy G because I was waiting too long for Aaron Rodgers. What would you do? I would go with Jimmy G.
No.
In pretty short order, I would go with Jimmy G. Because the Jets are not in the right.
If I can get Carr,
they're not.
If I can get Carr, if I know, again, if I'm Joe Douglas, I've already done my due diligence. If there's any question, I'm speculating, NFL, if you listen, and I'm not saying this is happening. This is all allegedly, okay? I'm not trying to have the feds knocking on my door, not trying to have you call me, okay? If I'm Joe Douglas, I've already done the work behind the scenes to speak with Aaron Rodgers and his representation. They've already given me a yes or a no that Aaron is going to play next season, or to give me some inkling of what's on his mind. If I come out of that situation still questioning if Aaron Rodgers is even going to play football seriously or is even willing to leave the Packers, to the point where I'm now rolling the dice and gambling so hard where it's a 50-50 or maybe a 60-40 his side, 70-30 on his side, I'm immediately making sure that Derek Carr is a New York Jet. Listen, every other franchise has the history, right? There are other franchises, Colts, right? They get rid of quarterback. We don't have that luxury. The New York Jets have not had a franchise quarterback in I don't know how long. And we felt and seen the impact of it. There's no reason why this football team shouldn't have made the playoffs. Not one. We have weapons. Our offensive line was solid this season. The defense is a champion defense. We were in every single game. No one blew us out. Even though the defense was on the field all damn game last year, they were still good. Even when they were bad with the quote fingers, they weren't giving up touchdowns. No, they would stop you and hold you to a field goal, even though you were running all over us. Nothing, right? We're losing games 10-3, having punts returned on us. That's how our offense is so bad. Our offense is so bad because of the quarterback play, and we've seen that for so long. You cannot play that game. We cannot roll the dice. Our franchise luck does not go that far. So if Joe Douglas misses out on Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr and the backup plan isn't, that's it, I'm telling you, people are going to go off. They're going to go off, especially if Aaron Rodgers decides to stay with the Packers or retire. You should have already had that discussion and had that plan. Go ahead, Dwayne.
I think there is speculation on that, whether GMs can really even get into that type of conversation. I don't know, but I will say this.
We know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right. I will say this, and I'm the inflammatory Jets fan. I'm just going to say this. If and it might not even go this way, but let's say Carr falls, because he always wanted to go to the Saints. Okay, he wanted to go. He went to the Saints. They traded him, right? If Joe Douglas does a smart move and gives Aaron Rodgers 2 weeks after Carr goes, gives him 2 weeks, and then Aaron doesn't make his decision, and then he picks up Jimmy G because he didn't want to be left without a quarterback at all. If Jets fans have the nerve to throw a tomato at Joe Douglas, I'm going to throw a tomato at Jets. I'm going to run because there's going to be a lot of – but I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to go to a home game, and I'm going to throw a tomato at the least intimidating-looking one, and I'm running. I'm wasting that ticket money right there. I'm letting you know. So any Jets fans listening, watch out for the tomato. I'm coming for you.
All right, Dwayne, listen, you've given us some hot takes. Before I let you go, give me your Super Bowl pick, Eagles, Chiefs. Give me your score. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think it ends up?
There's not too much parity in the NFL anymore right now. I think the Chiefs are going to win. My pick is who I want to win is the Eagles because I love underdogs. And not only is the Eagles the underdogs, I keep forgetting the quarterback's name. Always have bad memory. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the underdog quarterback because everybody slept on him. Gave him that he should be a running back moniker. So I want him to win. I want him to prove himself. And then Mahomes got years to win Super Bowls. Mad years to win Super Bowls, bro. Let Jalen Hurts win this one. I'm going for the underdog, man. I'm going for the Eagles, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Chiefs.
Okay. He's going for the Eagles. All right, salutes, Dwayne. I want to thank you for calling in. You have yourself a good one, my friend.
All right, man. Salute. See you, Joe.
All right. Salutes. Listen, there's a lot of talk. I'll tell you what. If Joe Douglas misses out on Aaron Rodgers and Carr, Jimmy G is a viable option, but there's going to be Jets fans that are going to lose it. They're going to lose it. And especially if we get strung out, which is a big question, and I've talked to people about this before. I definitely talked to people about this before, about chasing Aaron Rodgers, and he strings us out the same way he strings, the Packers out every single year, it seems like. And if we miss out on both of those guys, and maybe even miss out on Jimmy G, boy, there is going to be some issues. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Salutes to my guy Larry Coleman in the chat. Salutes to him. He says, we knew Zach was raw when he came from BYU, and the NFL is a different beast. He missed significant time plus joint practices. The reps are valuable. So I'm saying put the limelight on this guy. And don't run away from the run game like Mike LaFleur did. Hopefully Hackett won't get rattled and get off the game plan. Develop this young man, and let's not keep putting him down. He's putting in the extra work. Okay, look, I hear you. That's fine, right? The deal is that to this point, and I'm a Zach Wilson guy, he sucks. To this point, he sucks. I'm just keeping it real, Larry. And I hear you. Yeah, we're going to develop him, and we'll keep working with him. But as of right now, Zach Wilson has not shown you anything that says that he should be starting for the New York Jets at quarterback. He's showing you nothing. He's doing the same thing that he was doing last season as a rookie. It looks like he hasn't learned. He struggles to read defensive coverages. He struggles to pick up blitzers. He struggles to figure out when to throw the ball. His timing is off. In a system that is predicated on timing, rhythm, getting the ball out of your hands quickly, he does not like to do that. What he does like to do is what doesn't work in the NFL often, which is run around and jack the football down the field, which works in BYU, but it don't work at the NFL level, dog. You try that, and you throw a lot of interceptions. You win in the NFL from the pocket, okay? You have to be a solid pocket quarterback. That's not all that has to be within your game, right? You can definitely get outside and move the pocket. That's phenomenal. But if you cannot make it happen from the pocket in the league, you're going to have a lot of issues, a lot, all right? Jack Kenner also says, pause. Why is Lamar off the table being so much younger and it costs you around $50 million? Why not? Here's the deal, Jack. And salutes again to Jack and all the savages in the chat. We come to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all throw y'all takes out there. We go back and forth, and we'll get back to the callers in a second. Listen, Jack, everything that we've heard from the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is going to stay a Raven. They've already talked about him being a part of the next search for their offensive coordinator. They're going to pay him at some point. I don't know if they're going to franchise or what they're going to do, but they're going to work out a deal with Lamar Jackson. All right, they're going to work out a deal with him. He's going to stay a Raven at least for this upcoming season from what we see and what we've heard. All right, they're going to find some way to pay that guy because let me tell you something. If Lamar Jackson leaves the Ravens offense will fall off of a cliff, a clear cliff. So all the things we're hearing from them seems like they're going to keep him around. If Lamar Jackson was on the table, I'd love to see Jets make a move for him, but in my mind, he's off the table. GVH says, I worry about Jimmy G due not just to injuries, but the Niners proved they were QB-proof until the world traveler Josh Johnson. Lance to Jimmy G to an undefeated Purdy. Their O and skill players are elite. Okay. I've heard that take as well, but I tell you what, Jimmy G's gone out there and executed. Now the coaching there is phenomenal with Kyle Shanahan. Again, the Shanahan system, the Shanahan tree continues to thrive, right? But Jimmy G went out there and did it on a big level. You know, so we'll see going forward, but Jimmy G should be an option. He's gone out there in the system and got it done. All the Jets need is an average quarterback, and we can really get it done in this league. So we're going to go back to the lines. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. We'll come to y'all. NY Jets FL says, maybe we sign Jimmy G and draft another QB. Maybe Carr does not want to play here. That's a big question as well. Those are some thoughts that could be on the table. We're going to get back to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in next. I'm going to my guy, Mickey. Mickey, we're coming directly to you. 813, hold on. Other callers as well. Hold on. We'll get to everybody. Mickey, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Listen. For those of you that don't know Mickey, he's a savage.
Play my theme music. That's right. Turn it up. I'm all charged up,
Mickey,
Joe.
Salute. I'm telling you.
I got a lot to say.
It's always good to... It's all right. Let's get into it. Listen, I want to start with...
I want to sing the songs I want to sing.
We're gonna get into the Hall of Famers and Garrett Wilson and Sauce winning the defensive and offensive rookie of the year as well a little bit later. I want to go straight to the QB position. It seems like you're fired up. I'm telling people that
I'm all charged up
is an option. I'm telling people that Jimmy G is the option here. Okay, a lot of people don't want to hear it. All right, what are your thoughts on this situation? If Carr is off the table, if Aaron Rodgers is off the table, where are you going? Are you willing? To get Jimmy G on the New York Jets if you're their general manager?
Okay. It's my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm ready to go? All right.
Go ahead.
So my roommate is a diehard 49ers fan. So for the past 2-3 years, I've watched every 49ers game. And I know this is your show and everything, but I think I might need to do a wellness check on you because Jimmy G is not the guy.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with you guys. Listen, all right. Let me just talk for a second because I have a lot of feelings right now. Jimmy G. All right. First of all, you got to understand he was in kind of a contract he had this season with the 49ers or whatever. So like he knew his future wasn't there. He's really just auditioning for other teams. You know, when it's counted for Jimmy G to make the plays to take them back to the Super Bowl, talk about the NFC Championship game, not this season because, you know, Bob credit, but the season before that, the dude threw the ball away. He lost a game for them, you know. I know he took the team to the Super Bowl like a few years ago, but that was a few years ago, and he hasn't really looked like the same quarterback since. There's no need for us to bring in Jimmy. He's not going to want to be another bridge quarterback into our team that isn't like, it isn't said with that. It doesn't make any sense to get Jimmy G. So absolutely not. We might as well stick with Mike White, like you said.
Okay. No, yeah, listen, that is an option as well, and I just talked about it a little bit ago. I feel like if we do miss out on Aaron Rodgers and we miss out on Carr, right, that Mike White, I think, is more of an option for me, right? But again, Jimmy G, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but Jimmy G, for me, is still a viable option. I know you're talking about the issues that they had this season, yes, and he missed some time, too. He got injured as well. But, again, I believe the year before this, he threw for 3,800 yards, right? He can still go out there and be solid. He's a system quarterback, right? He's a system quarterback. He understands the system through and through, and he would still give you enough time to be the bridge to figure out what Zach Wilson is, because the Jets themselves have said that they're going to stick with Zach Wilson through hell or high water. They're going to coach him and figure out what he is and what he isn't, right? So that's my take on it. And I understand a lot of people don't like Jimmy G, but again, he's an accurate guy as well. He has the highest completion percentage in 49ers history. You can't do those things and be trash. He's still good. He's still got something left in the tank. Now, is he Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr? No, he's not. He's neither one of those guys, right? He's like that third, fourth-tier quarterback. But still, you look at the situation, we have major answers there at QB. So that's my take there, and I hear you. But, hey, Jimmy G could be an option. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about Carr, Aaron Rodgers. Are you concerned that we're chasing Aaron Rodgers? Are you concerned that he'll possibly string us out and we miss out on Carr and we could miss out on Rodgers as well? What are your thoughts?
Joe, I'm going to try to say this as calmly as possible because I'm really charged up right now. You tried to silence me on Twitter when I tried to bring it up. I have a feeling in my soul that Jets are going to make a shiesty move this offseason. I don't know when, I don't know where, but I can feel the shiest. I can feel it. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. It's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Everybody wants Aaron Rodgers, and I think everyone is crazy. I spent the last season dogging this guy out for being washed. He wants this guy who does ayahuasca in the off season to come into us and be our savior. You know what happened the last time we brought a Packers quarterback into the Jets to win it all?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
No way.
I remember the last Packers quarterback. Okay, so you like Derek Carr.
Nothing, bro.
So Derek Carr's the guy.
Derek Carr, nothing. Absolutely. You look at what he's gone through with the Raiders. He's been the only consistent piece on that team for, like, the better part of a decade. You know, he's whatever controversy is going on, whether it's the run thing or him having a new offensive coordinator every week of the 2014 season, he's always handled it with, with a poise, and he's been very professional about it. That's the kind of guy we're going to need for this team. We've been the laughing stock in the league forever. You know, you're going to want a guy that can command respect in the huddle, that can have guys rally around him. Even when the Raiders were like, we're going to get rid of Derek Carr. And Devontae Adams still had his back. He was still bigging him up. So, I mean, it's not. I don't think we lost the locker room. You know, everyone knew he was the scapegoat. You know, Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he still has it. The guy's like 45. You know, I don't. He might retire. He might do this. I don't want a quarterback that's flip-flopping on, like, we'll have those who have passion for the game, whatever. I don't want a guy, okay, I'll go to the Jets. Derek Carr, he's still in it. You know, he's still a fighter. He's in the prime of his career still, I think. I don't understand why anyone would want anyone other than Derek Carr.
Yeah. Look, I've been a big proponent for Derek Carr as well. I've talked about Aaron Rodgers, my love for him. I don't know. You can fix your situation a little bit, Mickey, with your phone. You're a little muffled. I don't know if you got to move your phone a little bit. But listen, right. I hear you. I am big on Derek Carr as well. I've been, I've gone back and forth with a lot of Jets fans that vehemently disagree with me about Carr. But Carr's a guy that I'm looking at as well, and I think he's a wonderful option for the New York Jets. As far as I'm concerned, on my tier list, Aaron Rodgers is 1, Carr is 2, and then after that, you fall a little bit further. Jimmy G's a guy that's on my list as well, is like that, maybe that 3rd, 4th choice. But Mike White, honestly, Baker Mayfield is not on my list. Not at all. Baker Mayfield is trash. I don't want to have nothing to do with him. If we sign
Baker Mayfield, we're going to the Super Bowl.
No. Oh, we're going to – do you mean that Baker Mayfield's buying you tickets? Because he ain't taking nobody.
If we sign Baker Mayfield, he's taking us to the Super Bowl.
Ain't going nowhere. Yeah. He'll buy you tickets to the
Baker
Super Bowl.
Mayfield.
He might pay for your Uber for you to go to the Super Bowl to watch whoever's.
I don't know. I don't know how much of that State Farm money he's got. I don't know about that.
My next question for you, Mickey. My last question for you. Listen, NFL honors, man. We swept it. We got the NFL rookie, offensive rookie of the year. We got the defensive rookie of the year. We got, man, they just announced as well, Revis, Klecko going to the Hall of Fame 2023 class. Man, give me your thoughts on all the things that we saw, all the awards and our Hall of Famers making it as well. How are you feeling right now as a Jets fan watching these guys, get their just due?
As much pain and misery as this franchise caused me, it did really remind me why I'm a Jets fan. There was a certain feeling of pride when I heard that Joe Klecko was going in. I personally thought he was already into the Hall of Fame.
A lot of Jets fans thought he was, but he's been battling for years, and I've been a big proponent of getting him in. I've been talking about it. There's no reason why this guy shouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame earlier. Go ahead, Mickey. I'm sorry.
Absolutely not. With Revis, I think it's cool that I was able to say I've watched his entire career. I've watched a Hall of Fame player's entire career in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. I've had mixed feelings on him. I thought he was greedy at times. I really don't like the fact that he has a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots. But, he gave us, legitimacy. He introduced the Jets no-fly zone. So I'm really happy to see him in the Hall of Fame. And I'm really glad that, those young boys, they went out there and they did what they were supposed to do. I saw on Reddit Seahawks fans are getting kind of booty tickled about the Jets getting both of them. And they're just mad that we fleeced them with your Jamal Adams. It's honestly pathetic. But, whatever. Sauce, I'm glad Sauce was the person he said he was when we drafted him, and he showed it on the field. And I'm glad that Garrett, Garrett Wilson, come on now. I don't even know those 2 hooligans on the Seahawks. So I'm really glad, it's undeniable. No one can take this away from us. No one can say anything, Jets, blah, blah, blah. It's solidified. It's concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Listen, Mickey, before I let you go, man, give me your Super Bowl prediction, excuse me. Eagles, Chiefs, who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think it ends up?
I think it's real weird that Jets fans want the Eagles to win. Real weird. Really weird. I'm a Mets fan as well, and I almost got jumped several times at Phillies games, so I don't want to see Philly win anything ever again for the rest of my life. My real-life mother, is an Eagles fan, and I want them to lose.
Okay. So he's pulling for
Casey,
Listen,
baby.
Mickey.
Casey, baby.
All right. I want to thank you for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, Mickey. I like going back and forth with you, man.
I don't know. We'll see. I got to lay low.
All right. You have a good one, Mick. Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Mickey said if we get Baker Mayfield, we're going to the Super Bowl. Oh, my goodness. Listen, again, the lines are open. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Again, new callers, please keep in mind I do not allow cursing on my show, okay? Don't call in and curse. I'll get you out of here fast. I'm talking fast. Faster than we got Mike LaFleur out of here. Get That was fast, right? I mean, he's with the Rams now, so, fell into a good franchise. But, learn how to stick to the run game, my man. We're getting back to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Everybody on the lines, be patient. We'll get to everybody. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. Next, I'm going to my guy, Ted. Ted, we're coming directly to you. All right? For those of you that do not know, that man Ted, Ted is a savage. Ted, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, man. I'm going back and forth with a lot of people, and I'm getting, a lot of heat from some people that are not interested in Jimmy G. I'm saying that Jimmy G is an option if the Jets miss out on Carr or Rodgers. What say you?
Hey, Joe. Good evening.
Salutes.
We're not getting either Carr or Rodgers, flat out. We're not getting either one.
Okay.
Saleh.
Why do you say that?
Because Saleh could be fired next year. He probably could have been fired this year.
Wow.
I don't know. Derek Carr has familiarity with Dennis Allen. He's played for him. Saints have a good defense. Saints have Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave. They have a decent team, and they have a more stable situation for him. Rodgers, we'd have to overpay for him, and he could quit after 1 year. I mean, if this whole thing blows up on Saleh for whatever reason, or he gets hurt, I just don't see either player wanting to come here, Joe. And I don't want to overpay. I don't want to overpay for Rodgers. And I really think I was thinking about crazy scenarios. I think we should sign Jimmy G and Ryan Tannehill. I mean, they're both.
Wow.
If we could do it, and then one may get hurt, but you have a good backup either way, and then keep Wilson. I don't know if you can afford it, but I don't think either player is going to play for us, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, and I do hear that scenario, right? There's a chance that Aaron Rodgers could decide to stick with the Packers. There's a chance that he might retire. That's there. But if you miss out on both of those guys, right, in your mind, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right, because I'm going to give the other side of the argument. If you miss out on Aaron Rodgers and Carr, wouldn't that put some heat on Joe Douglas not getting it done?
I have to laugh at that, Joe. With all due respect.
Oh, go ahead.
Joe Douglas is one of the best general managers in the NFL. Joe Douglas is one of the best. He may not be able. Okay, he hasn't been able to put together a quarterback, an ideal quarterback situation, but he certainly can draft. I mean, we had Breece Hall, who was probably on his way to being the offensive rookie of the year before he got hurt. Then Garrett picked his head up, and then he is, and Sauce Gardner. But Joe, Howie Roseman lasted through the Carson Wentz debacle. I say Joe Douglas, you got to keep Douglas. I don't care if we go to three different coaches to find the right one and find the right quarterback. I mean, John Elway drafted a first-round quarterback for 5 years in a row, and to try to find one, and he still. I mean, it's so hard to find these guys. It's so hard. I mean, there's only so many Mahomes and Josh Allens and Herbert. You just can't find them. You just can't find them. You have to get lucky.
But here's my thing, and I hear exactly what you're saying, right? And I get that. That is tough. But even going back to your argument about Derek Carr and how he has familiarity with Dennis Allen, he does, right? But even all the weapons that you named there at the Saints, it's not like we're nothing, right? We have a lot of weapons. We have the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. You just talked about Breece Hall, who's coming back. We expect him to be the guy who he looked like the offensive rookie of the year, before he went down, and he might have been if he continued his. He was the single reason why we were really moving offensively. The entire offense was ran through him. We were running the rock so tough, right? We have all the other pieces as well. Tight end, you got Elijah Moore. You got Corey Davis. We'll see what happens going forward with him. You got, offensive line that can keep you upright, a championship defense. Why would Carr look at our team and not want to come here? Why would we be off the table for Carr? Go ahead.
Because Joe, he's been in an unstable organization his whole career. This is his first chance to go to maybe like the Saints and be in a stable organization. Because Saleh could be fired next year. Saleh could be fired next year. Joe, we probably should have fired Saleh, got Frank Reich, and then we probably could have got Carr, a legitimate quarterback. And now we're kind of scratching and clawing, trying to. I think it's a pipe dream to get either one of these guys. I would be very surprised if we got Carr or Rodgers at this point. I'd be very, very surprised. You have other teams in the mix. You have the Titans in the mix. You have Carolina in the mix. I mean, there's other teams that need quarterbacks, and I don't know. Like I said, Saleh could be fired. If I was Derek Carr, do you think I'd want to come to the Jets? I wouldn't.
Yes,
for 1 year, and all of a sudden my coach is gone.
Well, if I was Derek Carr, I would. I mean, exactly. Why would Sulla be getting fired, right? If we're talking about firing Sulla, okay, in year 2, we're talking about firing Sulla, a guy who took the New York Jets defense from dead last to 4th right now, which is what we were to finish the season, the 4th overall defense. Why are you firing that?
Because
I think a lot of the talk about him. I think a lot of the talk about him being fired was a bit overblown. Of course, every quarterback, every coach has issues. But when you look at what we've done here, heck, when you look at the issues and the things we turned around, the New York Jets are no longer a circus because of him. A lot of the guys that came here, from DJ Reed, who's a phenomenal corner as well, who doesn't get the credit he deserves, to other guys as well, CJ Uzomah, all these other, a lot of guys want to come here simply because he's the coach. Look at the accolades that we got, all the guys coming out talking about how phenomenal he was and how much they love him the second that we signed him. I think that, again, and we're in a rebuild. We're in a rebuild too. Year 2, we saw the improvement. Next year, I think we'll see more improvement. We'll take the next step. I don't think Sulla getting fired, or the possibility of Sulla getting fired, would scare Carr away from here. I don't think that is at all. I think there's other factors that would scare him away from here. But when you match us up with a lot of these teams that have weapons, we have weapons too. I think that this would be an extremely desirable place for him. Go ahead.
Joe, I think our issue is, stated before on the show, that is the team faded under Saleh. They almost quit under Saleh. We should have made the playoffs. We should have made the playoffs. The team faded. In every aspect of our team faded. Our special teams faded. Our offense, everything started off great. I know we had a lot of injuries in offensive line and quarterback play, but, I mean, Braxton Berrios lost his ability to play football. He regressed. There's so many questionable things that happened during the season that I just can't understand why. Look at the Texans. The Texans looked like garbage, and all of a sudden they started beating they could have beat the Cowboys. They started playing great. That should have been us playing like that. They used 2 quarterbacks. They did what they could to win these games.
You're right, but how much of the team, and I want to go back and forth with you about this, how much of the team fading with the quote fingers was about the bad quarterback play? Let's go back to, here's a great example, the Jacksonville Jaguars game. You go back and watch that game. Zach Wilson's a starter. There was nobody in that building that thought that the Jets were going to win that game, including the team. And you can see how they played when Zach was out there. I think the biggest issue was the quarterback position single-handedly. You look at this, right? We were in every single game. There's you could argue that if the Jets had an average to slightly above average quarterback, right, a Derek Carr, that we would have easily been a 14 or 15 win team. Easy. I'm talking easy, right? The issue was that the offense couldn't produce, and the biggest issue on the offense was the quarterback position. You had Zach Wilson go out there, and nobody wanted to deal with that guy as a quarterback. So I agree. Think that was the biggest issue. I think that was – I don't think it was Sulla. As a matter of fact, Sulla made the decision to move on from Zach Wilson and bench him because I think part of it was, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose this team because he's playing so badly. Remember, he reversed his stance on it because at first they were saying, we're never going to bench this guy. But then he said, you know what, I've got to move forward. We've got to figure it out. And that's when they said, hey, we're going to give him a reset, which a reset takes a lot longer than a couple weeks. But they had to sit that guy down. You also saw the team spark up and change when Mike White, we saw an elevated level of play. So when you look at that, I think that's how you can sell Derek Carr on coming here, because you are the missing piece, like Woody Johnson would say. I don't think that we're as far behind from being a team that he would look at and be interested in at all. I think we would be near the top of his list or at the top of his list, depending on what's going on. But I believe that, and according to, and even if you look at this situation surrounding Carr right now, I believe that we truly are chasing Aaron Rodgers, because Carr has gone to the Saints and visited. To this point, he hasn't visited with the Jets. So I have an inkling that we really are all in on Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just concerned that we're going to get strung out. What are your thoughts?
Is he out of the cave yet, Joe? Rodgers? Is he out of hibernation yet to make his
I
to
think
see
he's
the
still
light?
within his darkness.
Okay. Maybe he'll come out with it. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, I agree with some of the other callers that said that you can't wait. You can't wait forever for this guy to figure it out. It's got to be soon. So, I mean, if we get one of the two, I'd be happy. But I just, I don't know. The other options. I mean, like I said, Carolina needs a quarterback. Frank Reich is there. I think Frank Reich is there. They have a good defense. They played well at the end of the year. They got some players. Tennessee, you know, Mike Vrabel's a good group. I'll say a great coach. Mike Vrabel's a great coach. Mm-hmm. One of the few Patriot disciples that have succeeded, quite honestly, as a head coach.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
Go ahead. You talking facts. Nobody wants to talk about that, but you're talking facts.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. So, you know, they both have options, and Rodgers built a house in Tennessee. I don't know, Joe. Rodgers is such a wild card. Maybe we just need the more stable situation with Jimmy G. I know Jimmy G gets hurt, and Jimmy G tanked in the playoff game one year, but he's a pretty consistent quarterback. He plays in the cold weather. There's no issue with, you know, everyone says Carr can't play in the cold weather, which I'm not sure I believe that totally. But Jimmy G certainly can play in the cold weather. I'm not worried about that guy playing in the cold weather. But another thing, too, Joe, is maybe I'm hearing rumors about maybe some of these other quarterbacks, you know, maybe like a dark horse like Dak Prescott, you know, if they're willing to give up on him. Or, I mean, Stafford, the Rams are way over the cap, and maybe they have to reset a little. They're like $50 million over the cap, so maybe they want to draft somebody. You know, Mike LaFleur is so good with young quarterbacks. Maybe they really want to put a young quarterback in Mike LaFleur's hands, you know, to develop them.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens going forward. There's a lot of rumors swirling. All right. I don't know about the Rams. Again, they have a lot of issues with draft compensation as well. I know they've traded off a lot of draft compensation. I don't know where they're at with their first rounder. So, I mean, we'll see. But again, a lot of the cap numbers, the Saints are over the cap every single year. I swear. They are. Like 50, 60 million over cap every year. And then all of a sudden they make like 2 or 3 moves, and then they're 10 million under the cap. you know, so I don't know what's going on anymore, but I'll tell you what, we'll see. Dak Prescott being on the move, I think I don't know about that. Jerry Jones loves that man. But, you know, there's other things that they'll build around, and he does have, you know, a pretty big contract still with them. So we'll see what happens going forward. But I tell you what, Carr and Aaron Rodgers to this point, you know, are the guys we're chasing. But I keep telling people Mike White could be an option as well to bring back. I'd like that. I don't know if we'd sign Tannehill and Jimmy G. I think that Mike White would probably be the guy we bring back. We might bring Jimmy G in as well, and Zach Wilson would be within that scrum. I could see that. But the New York Jets have some options, and Joe Douglas has to make the right decision. Now, before I let you go, Ted, I want you to give me your thoughts, man. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sauce. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson. Yep. We got Hall of Famers going in and Revis and Klecko, man. How are you feeling right now as a Jets fan watching our guys get their just due?
No, that's why Douglas, as far as I'm concerned, is GM for life. I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing, and you know, he's taken a guy out of Cincinnati at number 4, you know, a corner, and a few people are scratching their heads like, oh, you know, what are we doing here? And it's like, the guy didn't give up a touchdown in college, and you know, it's and Garrett Wilson's a stud too. I mean, he played at a top college, Ohio State. He played with Olave, and they had a heck of a team. It's great, Joe. It's great to see young players, and Breece Hall too is another one. He could have been Offensive Rookie of the Year, but if he didn't get hurt. But you know, I'm happy for them, happy for Klecko, and hopefully the building blocks are there. But we just, like you said, we need competent quarterback play. Somehow, some way, we have to get that fixed. We do have to get that fixed ASAP.
Yeah, we do. Now, before I let you go, quickly, Super Bowl pick: Eagles, Chiefs. Who you got winning? Who you got losing? How do you think it ends up?
I don't think Jalen Hurts played particularly well last game. I know the defense is good that he played against, but if he plays like that again, he had 170 yards passing. I think the Eagles are going to lose by double digits, quite honestly.
Okay.
You got an experienced quarterback like Mahomes and Hall of Famer like Kelsey and Andy Reid. Mahomes always finds a way. He always finds a way.
Okay.
So I like the Chiefs. I really do like the Chiefs in this game.
Okay. All right. You're taking the Chiefs.
It's the NFL, Joe. It's up to the referees sometimes. You know what I mean?
Ted, taking a shot. I want to thank you for calling in. You have yourself a good one.
All right, Joe. Take care, man.
All right. Ted taking a shot at the refs. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking our callers next. Oh, we just missed Phenom. Hopefully Phenom gets back on. We're going to go to Rusty. Rusty, we're coming directly to you. All right. Rusty salutes. For those of you that do not know Rusty,
salutes,
the savage. Rusty, I want to thank you for calling in, man. We're talking quarterbacks tonight. I'm looking at the situation. Aaron Rodgers off the table, Carr off the table. I'm thinking Jimmy G could become an option. What say you, man?
Hey, what's up, Joe? Salutes, fellow savages, and Joe yourself.
Thank you.
Salute. Yeah, no, you're welcome. Thank you. And yeah, no, I'm not a Garoppolo person, man. I don't know, man. I've always had a thing for Jacoby. Honestly, he's
okay. Jacoby Brissett.
Yep. So I mean, the way that I view it, our defense and keep our draft picks, trade out of the first as many times as possible, acquire, rack stack and just unload on the NFL. That being said, I mean, he's better than Trent Dilfer. He's better than Brad Johnson. Our defense is on par with, in this type of generational, because of how the offense and those refs are, is on par with a similarity of, like a Ravens or Buccaneers. That type and this type of, you know what I mean, just doing work. And I mean, I hope we go for Jacoby. And then, with our last pick, get Max Dugan. Get Mad Max. See what happens. Let Zach and him battle it out. Put Strebler at, fullback or something. He's like Tebow, but he can pass and block better. So you might as well use him for something. And, he's like, he's Tebow's evil twin with all those tattoos. I don't know what it is, but he just reminds me of Tebow's evil twin. And,
all right, well.
Get a big man on defensive tackle like Sayaki Akia or Colburn or Mazzy. And that kills me to say it because I'm a Buckeye, so I hate the Wolverines. But, I can't deny what they do. Well, and then especially, too, that's why I say Max Dugan, because he took them out. But go ahead, brother. What were you saying?
Yeah, here's my thing. And just going back to the quarterback situation. I understand, Jacoby Brissett is an option as well, and as we continue to explore, the quarterback situation. Jacoby Brissett is a guy that's out there that could come in here and be competent as well. But when I look at it, I say to myself, Jimmy G has such a familiarity with the system and the coaching staff. Fella, I think that he could come in here and really do some great things as well. And I know he got injured last season, and his time with the Niners is done. But we've seen him have success. We've seen him go to a Super Bowl before, 2019. He's one of the most active quarterbacks in 49ers history. I think 2 years ago he had 3,800 yards. He's a guy that can handle business. So when I look at the situation, if we miss out on Rodgers and Carr goes elsewhere, we could end up with Jimmy G, and it wouldn't kill us. It wouldn't kill us at all. But Mike White, I also think, would be a factor as well there, too. And I would love to possibly see us bring in Jimmy G, bring back Mike White, and Zach Wilson, clearly still being on the roster as well, and carrying those three quarterbacks like that. I think that would be a good move for us, too. But I also want to get your thoughts on Carr, right? To this point, Carr has met with the asking price as of now is the asking price as of now is a third-round pick, right? Are you surprised that the Jets, at least publicly, it seems like, have not really been, hot on trying to grab Carr? He's meeting with the Saints. There's been nothing, announced that he's going to meet with the Jets. What are your thoughts on the Jets not, reaching out and trying to grab this guy as well? Do you think that we're as all in on Aaron Rodgers, as every rumor seems to be?
Just hear me out real quick.
Go ahead.
And now with Carr, it won't work for us. The cold weather thing, and that's a thing, and he's 0-7 in that. And when it matters in crunch time, when you break down those types of things, it's not good. I love his fight, but he overdoes it, and less is more in that way. You know what I mean? I don't know. He seems to frig up, a little bit too often, and his demeanor. God bless him. I love a guy with passion, but man, those tears come here he'll get torn to freaking pieces. And God forbid he has a terrible game. We're ruthless. I might not be 1 week, but somebody else definitely is. And they're, we're ruthless as Jet fans. I'm proud of it, but it doesn't always work out in our benefit sometimes. I think it would mentally break them. The cold weather thing. And then what should be first is just the price tag, and then like you were saying, the third round pick. I mean, there's so many different ways we can go in the third round, especially this year. Like Papo, if Voorhees, Avila, any one of those guys, and not to mentioning trading back. Go ahead,
my question though. No, and I hear you.
Yeah.
Here's my question, even to some of your points. The cold weather thing I think is a bit overblown. They play Denver every single year in Denver, and it's freezing in Denver. We all know that. This year in Denver, this past season, he had 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had an OT win with the Raiders. And that was in Denver, okay? In 2019, he went off. He had 319 yards and a touchdown in 2019 in Denver, and I think it was 23 degrees there. And there's other games as well. He's went off in Denver. It's freezing cold. I really believe that this cold weather stuff is a bit overblown with him. But I will say this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's talking about the third-round pick. A third-round pick for this type of production from a quarterback, right? Any third-round pick you get, you would pray that they will become Derek Carr. You would pray. So why not go grab the finished product? $40 million for a quarterback of his ilk is literally nothing. And I think a big reason why Jets fans look at the money is because we haven't had a franchise guy like Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback in this league. They don't grow on trees. We all know that, right?
True.
We've been looking for a Derek Carr since Chad Pennington, and that was however long ago. So I would make the move. I have no issues with it whatsoever. But give me your thoughts, man. I'll give you the final word on it.
All right, but to that too is Q has to get paid, bro. Like I stopped calling him Baby Q. He deserved it. Ever since he blew up on the sidelines week 2, and then he did him, I was cool with it. The braces came off and the smile disappeared, and then the good smile came in. You know what I mean? He had enough, and I loved it. He went the right of way on a blow up. Him you have to account for. Eventually, you're gonna have to pay. Not only Sauce, you're gonna have to pay AVT. You're gonna have, there's little hidden things, and then that $40 million, and then plus New York State tax, you have to account for that. I don't know if Carr is gonna do any of that type of thing. Not Carr, Carr and Rodgers, but and then you have to take into the draft is huge this year. It's not like how the '90s are. It is this year. Is that year where offensive lineman is, oh my God, it's so ripe for the taking. Linebacker too, between the Papos, the Abates, the Morgan's a tackle from Arizona, but it's lush. The thing that's missing is defensive tackle. Thank God we don't need a corner, but they're still ripe there. So, I mean, we can plug our holes so. Now, it's to the thing to where now if you're going to pay Carr that much, and then give up draft capital. I mean, if it came down to it, I don't. That's the thing. I don't want to give up any draft capital, none. It's just the amount of kids that are coming out in the last 2 years and the next 5 years coming is insane. So
no, listen, and I hear you. I hear you, and I get it. But at the end of the day, we need a quarterback. I know people don't want to give up draft capital, but look at how much capital we've wasted on QBs these past couple of years.
That's the only thing we can't draft.
Sam Darnold didn't work out here. High first-round pick for Sam Darnold didn't work out here. To this point, Zach Wilson hasn't worked out here. It's insane. But Rusty, we're
that and safety. It's like the two QBs, one of the defense, one of the offense. We just
before I let you go,
that's why I want Skinner and Brandon Joseph.
Chiefs, Eagles. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses?
Eagles. I want them to win. I'm rooting for them. Screw the Giants. And if they do anything, I'm dead certain. Sorry, I almost dropped it. But
go ahead.
Yeah, man. And then I hope we mirror ourselves off the Eagles. That's I really do.
Yeah.
And man, Eagles fans. We've had some ruffles and tussles in my life, and they put up a good fight, and I'm all with them except beating the horse dung. But it is what it is.
Listen, Rusty. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. It's phenomenal to speak to you. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, my friend. We're going to get to the last caller very quickly. My guy, BK, we're short on time. You literally got a minute. Salute to you, BK. As we know, hey, Savage. I'm talking Savage. BK, we're short. I'll give you a minute and some change. Give me your thoughts. Jets, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Hall of Famers. How are you feeling about that, man? Quickly.
I'm feeling great, man. I mean, Sauce, I always said it from the beginning. I knew he'd do what he did this year. Garrett Wilson's a stud. And I'm just impressed with what they have, man, with these two guys. I'm looking forward to seeing them do the same thing even more in the coming season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, before I let you go quickly, give me your thoughts, man. Are you all in on – would you be willing to take Jimmy G, Carr, Aaron Rodgers? Who's your quarterback? Who's your choice?
I would like to take either one of them. Either one of them is a big improvement, period. Okay, so let's stop the games. We know this for a fact. We're going to get 20-plus touchdowns with 83 of them guys. That's it.
Okay. Super Bowl pick, Chiefs, Eagles. Who is it?
Eagles all day. Eagles got this.
Okay. BK taking Eagles. Listen, salutes to you, BK. Next time I have a show, call in earlier. I want to hear from you, all right, my friend?
No problem, bro. Peace and love.
All right, you have a good one. So BK calling in. Now we're going to close up the show. Whew, this was a hot one. Callers going back and forth. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well, at The Long Beach Joe. At The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You're going to troll me. No issues. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge. And I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. At all times, all right? So go ahead and follow me, and I'll troll you. I'm also on YouTube as well, okay? Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. You want to troll me, no issues. Troll me in the comments, and we'll go back and forth. And as always, people, when you see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone, okay? Free hugs for everyone. The hugs will cost you absolutely nothing. Thank you, folks, for taking the time out of your day to call in, listen to the show, and interact with your boy any way you can. Salutes to all the savages. You folks have a good one, all right? Peace.